Three, two, one. Surprise, we're back. As soon as
Yes.
we ended the last stream, I asked this brother, I'm like, bro, let's just do it again later. Like at 1 in the morning, not giving a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just see how far we can take it in an hour. We just like grind through. Cause just to let the audience know, um, we've already begun working on the honorary mentions. Like we have like 3 songs on like Aalora's side, and we're basically all done. We can launch right as March begins. Let me send a tweet that says
Mhm.
we're back online. Tap 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 in. Shout out to like the chaos food queen, Sweetie herself.
Yeah. And as soon as this man gave me the offer to, do this all over again at ASAP, I was like, yo,
Why not?
absolutely. Yeah, the spark's still there, the energy's still there. And, we do have these songs left that, I know he's excited to talk about. I'm excited to talk
No
about.
doubt, no
And,
doubt.
hey man, let's, yes. And unfortunately, we might not have the live audience we did, but you
Fuck
know
it.
what? But you guys, you're gonna feel the excitement soon enough. Yes, and funny enough, to all my shout outs to Miss Chamai, I was actually able to reach out to her about the B.O.B. Taylor Swift song, Both of Us, and unsurprisingly, she absolutely loved it. I guess, had fond memories of it because that was back in 2012, and the innocence of that. Well, I don't know. I mean, a lot of bad stuff
Yes,
happened
let's
in
call it that
2012,
because
but
like the magic of the magic of Bob is that he was approachable for white listeners who didn't otherwise know where to start if they were already like passionate or interested in hip hop.
mhm.
So
Yes, yes, and that's good. And her love for the song, that makes a lot of sense. I definitely get it. I mean, like, I'm not gonna act like I was, like I said, I very much stand that Both of Us was basically Airplanes Part 3. But I don't mean that maliciously. I don't mean that maliciously in that.
certainly not.
Yeah, but so I definitely understand the appeal and why people would still be digging it and everything, but yeah. And hey, so and you're digging my sound right now, right?
I can hear you fine. You're good.
Okay, that's great to know. That's great to know. That's great to know. So
So last time we were here, we ended with "Losing You" by Solange, which
mhm,
puts the ball back in my court. I
yeah,
have on this list "Bloody Mary," "Nerve Endings" by Silver Sun Pickups, and
yes.
like I had to pick a few popular songs for my half of like the playlist because I couldn't just like pick obscure technical metal and whatever. It's like, we have to have a little semblance of like what was happening in the world around the country. And
Mhm,
like I'm somewhat of like a fair weather fan of Silver Sun. It's like
mhm,
I know the hits and like in our long ass conversation leading up to the stream, you mentioned the Royal We, and I'm like, wow, this song just like completely passed me by. This is such a fucking banger. Why isn't this band more of a big deal? I think a couple years prior, I'm in my friend's car, we're going someplace, and I a song's on the radio because we can't get the CD player to work in the car, and the
mhm.
radio host is like, "That was Silver Sun Pickups," and I'm like, "Excuse me, a Silver Sun Pickups song on the radio that I do not know? What song was that?" Because radio hosts are fucking notorious for being like, "That was this band," and now back to the ads, and I'm like, "Sir, what was the fucking song? Please tell me
Yeah,
what the song was, because it's, it's my favorite band or could be my favorite band. Great, but like, what are the odds I can find the name of the song? Because I can't necessarily rely on a band to name drop the song in the lyrics. I can't depend on
yeah,
that. Radio host, that's your freaking job, or at least have one of like those like when you listen to like top 40 and they do like the
mhm,
top 20 breakdown and do
yeah,
like Doja Cat, Kiss Me More. And it's like that part is kind of obvious, but like for some, like relatively obscure rock band, give me the fucking name of the song. I'm gonna shut up about it and focus on the actual song at hand. I'm sure you have a lot to say about nerve endings in particular, so please go in if you please.
Oh yeah, I think nerve endings really like what Silver Sun pickups really had in their strengths, and I guess this is why they often got compared to the Smashing Pumpkins a lot, was much like Smashing Pumpkins. They knew how to take the aesthetics. They knew how to take certain aesthetics of like dreamy shoegaze and mixed with somewhat heavier elements, but by all means stay a purely alternative rock band. I guess the only kind of difference between them and Smashing was that, with Silver, there was still somewhat resemblance of a punk rock influence that Smashing never ever attempted to even have. But yeah, but yeah, this definitely plays into everything that I loved about Silver Sun pickups. From the drummers, which you can tell, like he did the hi hats are definitely being used, and the high and the cymbals and everything. From the vocals, who that man is always just in charge when he is singing. Like he always it always hits, it always kind of drives to you. So that so Silver Sun pickups, they're a band that I know it's weird because like they've been around since like roughly what like okay like
2005 at least.
yes, 2005. Carnivores came out in '06, and
Mhm.
Lazy Eye, Well Thought Out, Twinkles, those kind of become beloved around around alt rock radio. And I don't know, I would have like it's weird how even though they are even though that time is very much looked back on a good note. It's like how like our generation, we so lovingly look back at like the Fallout Boys, the Panic at the Disco. Well, okay, well, I don't know.
Sadly, yes.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
both, yes. Sadly, yes.
yeah, and it's like, and you know what? I get that because it was middle school, and that was
Yes.
our gateway to that world. And
Yes.
that song, I don't know, and maybe this was when I should have known that, I was going into that hipster path, because I remember hearing Lazy Eye. I remember being like, wow, man, this is absolutely amazing.
Mhm.
And I knew
Quite
maybe
loud, boom, bang, you
yeah,
know?
one guy in middle school who knew that song, and it was just like, man, this is unfortunate, but
One to
so
like 100, yeah.
yeah, but Silver Sun, they kept it going. Their follow-up album Swoon was also really
So good.
solid. Yes, Panic Switch and Substitution, which I remember just being completely marveled because the music video was literally a bunch of fashion models playing
Bring around the
musical
Rosie.
chairs.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
and I'm
good.
like, I don't know what made them think of doing that. I don't know why. But of course, like, I don't know, 16-year-old me was like just so transfixed by that. Oh man. But yeah, Silver Sun pickups. And yeah, funny enough, like I think when we spoke about the Royal We, I said that in the comparisons with Silver Sun pickups to Smashing Pumpkins, Royal We is probably like the closest they kind of came to their Tonight in this terms of like really okay, there's
Big
no
synth, yeah.
there's no like orchestra or anything, but it is this just sweeping epic of a song that even it
Just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
exactly, and the emotions are just on full display, once again, Brian Albert, the lead vocalist and guitarist of the band. He is just completely letting it all hang out, and I always loved that. I always loved that about him. And it just kind of just goes into why I never really knew why Silver Sun, though, yeah, no, they still got props,
All the
among that
festivals year after
scene.
year, yeah.
But it's like, I don't know why, they never really why they never really got to that echelon of attention. I mean, you talk to any indie band, they're definitely they're gonna know Lazy Eye. They're gonna know it's such a brilliant song, but it just but I don't know. Like, will is BuzzFeed celebrating their existence the same way they celebrate Fallout Boy? Not really, not really. And
And
you
I would even like go as far as to say, oh, obviously it's apples to oranges, but like it's nothing short of frustrating. And
Mhm.
like I feel like I'd be like it would be an insult to the year of 2012 if I picked the Fall Out Boy song, and just because I'm morbidly curious, what happened in 2012
Okay,
they
yeah,
were
because I
working
think
on.
yeah, because no, 2012 was like they were like I think they were about to do Save Rock and Roll. Save Rock and Roll came out
Yeah, they were still they
next
were
year.
still on radio silence. So I think the only thing that really
Yes,
mattered was maybe like Patrick's solo project, or
yeah, and
maybe
I think
Black Cards. Or
yeah.
come to think of it, I think all three Fall Out Boy side projects were in full swing. I'm gonna check that right this minute to make sure I'm not lying to
Yeah, I
you.
remember when like the Soul Punk came out, and I think the only song from it I remember was
It was
that
crazy. That
collab
was
with
last year.
yeah, the collab he did with Lupe Fiasco around that
That was
time.
definitely like in 2011 for sure. But
Yes, yes.
so no, Patrick was not busy.
Mhm,
Let me see. Was Black Cards doing anything? Um, yes, actually,
mhm,
they had a whole. They dropped an EP. So, but like nothing. I feel like again in 2011, that's when like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Fame and like a club called Heaven hit the
mhm,
airwaves. So no,
mhm,
like they dropped an EP, but it didn't make shake the cage. However, nope. And then the damn things was in 2010 explicitly. I think they
mhm,
dropped 3 years ago, which is fascinating. But like again, did not shake the cage. But here we have like Silver Sun doing, and like thank God for like all radio playing Bloody Mary. But like I'm the only person that I know that still cares about that song, at least in my limited scope
mhm. Yeah.
of the grand scheme. And so like I'm hoping more people will give the song a shot now, because like it's certainly like cracked it certainly like streamed millions of times. But then like after this album we have two other albums by Silver Sun,
Yeah.
granted on I think a smaller label, that
Mhm,
didn't like produce a radio single. And maybe that's not what they wanted, but like
mhm,
it's still it's like the one thing I depend on radio for. Like it's up to radio's job to keep up with these bands and say, certainly maybe they didn't like promote a single, but like, oh, this song is stupid good. We're gonna put it on the air for the listener. Because then like I have to listen to these like freaking nerds on Pitchfork giving like Silver Sun a bad score. Not saying that they did for the last two projects, but like I
mhm.
sort of anticipate that kind of behavior. And that's what it's kind of made me into a jaded hack, you know?
And I think it kind of goes into what I mean I'll end up saying more about why 2012 was this kind of turning point, for better or for worse, for what we would call in Indian alternative music. And I guess I'll say that for when I end up talking about a certain band from Canada. But I mean, 2012 really did feel like kind of like the last time that like, alternative and independent, alternative rock and indie rock was really kind of like allowed that kind of attention. A band like Silver Sun was allowed that kind of attention in a semi-major way. Like they weren't
I
going
call it
to.
obligation at
Yeah.
that point, honestly,
Yeah.
because like with the way that like Lazy Eye and Panic Switch kind of saved alt radio,
Hmm.
like because like you know that once you hear Panic Switch that one time of the day, it's like oh fuck yeah, like I got to hear Panic
Yeah.
Switch today. But like I feel when I hear Bloody Mary, it's like let this is the side of the band that like usually we're like that like average Joe is gonna turn like the dial. He's like, oh, what's all this synthy bullshit? But
Hmm.
like for folks like us who love things like washed out and toro y moi, it's like, oh, this is perfect.
Yes. Yes.
Considering like this
Info.
is like this ocean of vibey synth and like I'm
Mhm.
thinking this. I'm not sure who like the keyboard player in Silversun is, but he's like, "Yo, this is my time to shine. I'm about to make these keyboards sweep with
Oh
sound."
yeah,
You know what I'm
Joe
saying?
Lester. Joe Lester. That's the key. That's the keyboard player. Joe
Kudos to
Lester.
you, Maestro.
Yeah.
Kudos. Hey, since we're on like this whole like tear of hipster bullshit, why don't we get into the Gaslight Anthem?
Yes. 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 The Gaslight Anthem. Truly, truly. When I
Handwritten.
Yes, handwritten. I believe the second single from the album of the same name, and was truly a turning point for the band. This would end up being their fourth album, first one for a major label, Mercury Records, after they had left
Holy shit.
Side One Dummy, and from
Holy
there,
shit.
yeah, and they had done critically acclaimed album after critically acclaimed album. I think their best known albums at the time was 59 Sound,
All
and
right, all right.
yeah, and American Slang, which
Yeah,
just absolutely lovely
big Bruce
albums.
vibes.
Yes, yes. And I think that was, Gaslight Anthem, for better or for worse, in their time, as boys from New Jersey, from New Jersey, you clearly have you get here certain stuff. They definitely always got hit with the, oh wow, as both praise and criticism with the, oh wow, these guys sound a lot, this is punk rock Bruce Springsteen, and yeah, I mean, they never denied it. I mean, I think a better comparison would be, it's Bruce Springsteen by way of the Replacements, and
Ooh, that's
yeah,
good.
yeah, and Gaslight would always, and to their credit, would always kind of try to shake up their sound. Like, American Slang definitely tries to implement a soul influence of some kind, which, granted,
Hmm.
once again, Bruce Springsteen always kind of like implemented soul in his classic records. And Handwritten was like them really kind of trying to play it in a more like kind of classic rock way. And which, what can you think of Bruce Springsteen if not classic rock? But I guess
Yeah.
let me talk about Handwritten and why it's so brilliant. Just from the opening thundering guitars, which, officially just get you at that moment, and then Brian Fallon, who once again doing what he always does best and putting his heart on his sleeve with these songs. Tell me your favorite song. I've been crying to it since I was young, and
Oof.
man, and it just, I feel like if there's any song that really kind of represents the spirit of what we're talking about, especially what we're talking about with, songs of 10 years ago and songs that we used to listen to, that this really captures it, because it's a song that really understands when you're young how when you're young you have these hopes, you have these dreams, you have this expectation of what you want to become, what you think you're going to become, and in a way the music is kind of a soundtrack to that. Unfortunately, as you get older and people in your circle kind of leave and life kind of just becomes life, you sadly learn the hard way about how a lot of those dreams you really thought you were going to become don't really happen. I mean, like, how many people did we know from, high school, or even from college who, like,
Stuck
people
around.
yeah, stuck around. People who we thought were like this close to getting married, who don't even want to even look each other in the faces anymore. Career tracks, which, certain people were absolutely positive that they would take and, didn't. And I feel like that's what this song represents. And heck, even the video kind of represents it, which is, about which, I'll talk about the video later, with the chorus, we're waiting for the sirens that never come. We only write by the moon. It, every word handwritten, and the loss of youth and the many years I've missed you. These pages plead forgiveness, and and once again, it's just that kind of like forgiving yourself for not becoming the person you thought you were going to become, and trying to reconcile the person you the person you once were with the person you are now, and hopefully a better person that you can become. And I don't know, Brian, and I feel like that's something that Brian really kind of understood. I don't know if it was around this time, but I know by their final album, like, Brian would end up going through a rough divorce, which really influenced that album. And and I don't know, and even with Gaslight Anthem, sadly, this isn't their final album. This would be their second to last final album. I don't know. Maybe Brian thought that he would be in the Gaslight Anthem till the day he died, and then he kind of just realized, I don't know, maybe this just doesn't work for me. Which is why since then the man's been going the solo route ever since, and I wish him nothing but love with that. And yeah, it is that theme of like broken promises in youth. And hey, I can, as someone who thought he would be in a completely different place than he is now, and had all these hopes of what the person he thought he would be, at that time. That's a message that I can definitely really feel and really connect to. And I think the music video does a really good job of kind of communicating with that, where, it's this one kind of local rock star who's like playing this song for thousands of people. Well, not thousands, but like people. And this couple buys one of their records and they really enjoy it. And then the boy goes to what I'm assuming is Vietnam, and what you assume is going to happens. The dad ends up giving the record away to a local kid who lives around the street. Years later, that kid sells it to a record store, and then that same rocker, who's now like old, miles away from that person he once was back in the 60s, buys that record, and he's listening to it, and it's like, man, and he's kind of just thinking like, wow, man, that the person I was then is like a completely different universe from the person I am now. And I don't know, and I feel, and okay, granted, it's been 10 years. It's been 10 years, so not everything has changed, but I feel like now, I think you can definitely attest. We've definitely had to become different people now than the people we thought we would be at that point in our lives. The world became a way different place than what we thought it was going to be in 2012, 2012. Like, if I could, there are so many things I would say to 2012 me. So many things I would tell him not to do. And so many things that I will also say, hey, like the world you thought you were going to inherit is not what you think. It was not what you think you're gonna get, and it's gonna suck, but you're kind of gonna have to get used to it, man. Yeah. you know, you know, but that's what I absolutely adore about this song. And once again, it's Gaslight really, really like were working on their strengths with this, and you do kind of feel that great hard hitting, thumping punk rock influence rhythm with this. And once again, Brian Fallon, who, even when he kind of tries to not sound like Bruce Springsteen, still kind of sounds like Bruce Springsteen. And I say this as a Bruce Springsteen fan, that
Same.
is, that is completely fine with me. That is completely fine with me. But yeah, that's what I loved. That's what I always adored about that song.
Yeah, in no way can I follow that up. So we're just gonna move right along
Hmm.
to the next song on my list. Sort of like a silly title, but a really just like um a spectacular display of what I find so compelling about Gent. And I'm gonna spell that because I don't think a lot of people know what know what the heck I'm talking about. So I'm gonna pop that on screen real quick.
Hmm.
Boom. Every like metal nerds, either like absolute like Bane or Boone, depending on who you ask. I'm of course talking about a local band to Aelora myself. Shout out Bethesda,
Hmm.
Periphery. And 2012 dropped their sophomore album. This time it's personal, otherwise known as P2 Periphery 2. It's the red one if you're looking it up, and the
Yes.
song is Froggin' Bullfish. Just use your imagination if you
Yeah.
wonder what the heck that means. I wanted to take a moment and pull up the chorus because I just love the way the words sound, even without like the just like spectacular singing given by a one Spencer Sotelo, who really just like stretched his capabilities because when he joined the band during P1, he was
Hmm.
just it was like he was the second hand pitcher, if you will, and like the man he was, the vocalist he was during P1 versus P2, completely night and day. One folks have tried to like debate that he was trying to do a Roddy Walker cosplay vocalist of Protest the
Hmm.
Hero,
Hmm.
but like the way that like it remained consistent to P3 years later, which became the first album that they got their first Grammy nod. You see that like this is the formula that worked best for the band and for him as a vocalist. One who's described that he doesn't even like screaming, but like he does such a great job, at least from my perspective. I'm gonna pull up the chorus and just read that for y'all real quick, where we have the lines, um chase the obscene, travel these wonders far beyond, burned on the walls that bind you to this cage, or be detained. And just just to like paint the picture, like Periphery is one drummer, one bassist, the singer screamer, and three guitar players. And like this isn't Alisana, this isn't Iron Maiden. Like
Hmm.
there's a reason for this, and if you've ever seen these folks live, you understand what I'm talking about. And
Hmm.
like I remember when like Periphery announced they're going to record a sophomore release, I like went cold turkey for the whole time that they're like in the studio, and like this is the album where they got like a John Petrucci solo and
Hmm.
like loads of other cool stuff. This is when like Adam Get Good, aka Nolly, joined the band. A
Hmm.
man so talented at playing guitar, they made him the bassist. Okay, so
Wow.
like yeah, like he would end up leaving the band to like pursue like mixing and mastering full time. And yeah, the dude's a freaking genius. Like if you ever like considered like making your own music, I highly recommend Get Good Drums. That's his current company. I'm not being endorsed by saying so, but like this band means so much to me. Like when you heard the song, hey Laura, what did you think about it?
I love the synchronicity of everything. It's like it starts little by little, but it just keeps on building. And and it just starts hitting you really hard. And and yeah, I listen to this and I'm thinking, well, like, wow, this sounds like a band that's just really, 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 like, not interested in playing it safe at all. And I dig that. But also, I think, there is this kind of there's this kind of like mindset of, like, being so technically proficient that, that sometimes, because you can play 25 million notes in a minute, sometimes, like, the emotional resonance, of a song is lost. And I just was not feeling that at all. Like, yes, it felt, I don't know, I would compare it to, like, a painting where that feels like it's just like a canvas that feels like it's just built off, like, millions and millions of dots, that but each but the painter knows what each dot is building towards. And that is the feel that was the feeling I was really getting with this song. And absolutely some lovely hard hitting stuff, man.
Well, we should move from a heavier, we should move from like a hard hitting place to a more gentle space with your next song, "The Kids Were Wrong" by Memory House. I gotta say,
Mhm.
since we're just like waxing poetic about hipster bullshit, there was no way possible I would have heard of this band had you not put it in this playlist, and that is a goddamn shame because this song is so beautiful. Tell us why.
Ah, yes, yes. So Memory House, once again, 2012 and that era where I felt like indie really could be indie. And you have, okay, yes, indie 2010s, we have our many dream pop shoegaze dream pop revival bands. And, I'm not going to act as if Memory House doesn't fall into it. But what I really, and once again, and shout out to the MTVU days where I discovered this song. But I think this, what had always fascinated me about this song, and by all means, this was a song I even contemplated, taking off the list a few times. I
So glad you
this
did not.
came this close to doing it. But yeah, but I just couldn't bring myself to. And I think what works so brilliantly is it's the definition of a song that uses its simplicity as a strength, you know. And yes, okay, the drums just kind of starts with this simple rhythm, da 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 da. And and the guitars, kind of just builds towards somewhat simple melody. But I swear, as soon as Denise Newman starts singing "Go to Sleep," I'm like, she gets it. And the kids were wrong. Okay, and I guess, if Handwritten by Gaslight Anthem is about, hey, we had our hopes when we were young and it doesn't really work out. um the Kids Were Wrong is very much about, being young, and it's in essence kind of like, relationships and stuff like that, knowing, kind of having this feeling that it's probably not going to work out, but still feeling like this is the path you should take. Like, there's something you need to learn from this. And that is and I don't know. And look,
Hard
and
lesson to learn.
very much so. And and I think it represents how, like, even when, even being with people who don't really serve you, who probably won't serve you much, in the far future, there is still a memory that you value with them, something that you treasure with them, an experience that you treasure with them, which, and I think it once again kind of like in relating that to me, it's like, I guess I wouldn't say it speaks more to experiences that I would say experiences that I feel like I came close to having, but sadly never really did at that point. And kind of feel like, I guess I kind of feel like I won't like, I'm close to kind of like feeling in that world and, evolving with that. And I'm guessing this, much like, Your Ex Lover Is Dead by Stars, another wonderful indie band, which,
Shout out to
if
Canada.
if I felt like looking through my vinyl, if I felt like looking through my vinyls, I'll probably like bring it out right now. Or it's probably not even there. It's probably in the attic somewhere, But but it's one of those songs that it hits hard right now, and it's gonna keep on hitting hard as you get older. And I Memory House, who did get compared a lot to Beach House, for certain reasons other than, the kind of similar name.
The obvious.
Yeah, but they really, but yes, in this whole dream pop shoegaze revival, they really were a group that understood what made those sounds so beloved and so well done. And once again, another band that, I mean, okay, I wasn't expecting them to blow up, but they kind of, I think after this, they kind of just like left music for a while. I think
Definitely just the background.
yeah, the last album they did was a self-released album back in 2016. And ever since then they haven't officially like broken up. It's just kind of like, hey, we're gonna do this when we're gonna do this. And that's it. That's how it is. In fact, that's how, like, a lot of the bands I loved from this time kind of just ended up being. And hey, that's kind of how it ends up. But I'm glad that we were left with this song. We were left with this song that is this, beautiful testament to being young and knowing that you don't have it figured it out, and knowing that it is your turn to learn, right? To learn. And and hopefully from learning you become, you rise to something, you get to something better. But yes, I absolutely adore the song. I'm glad, despite my hesitation, that I didn't leave it off the list. And hey, to anyone listening, please check it out. The Kids Were Wrong by Memory House. So, but yeah, let's take the ball back to you, man.
Yeah, so a little more this is like the last heavy song I have on this list, but cute little spoiler, I have one last like metal rep in the honorary mentions, but for now I want to focus on the band known as the Contortionist, and
Hmm.
the song is Hollow Movement, the first song off their sophomore album Intrinsic. And like this is more like the sci-fi realm where like one contemplates like the universe,
Hmm.
like the role of our species in the grand scheme of existence, like like you're like dude says like to widen your peripheral, like there isn't a whole lot of like aggressive vocals, like song runs for about 6 minutes, like
Hmm.
it's like the one song that like I've held on to since like the band moves to a different vocalist. Now like they're like primarily focused on just like they're more focused on melody these days, but like I feel like this song was just like a precursor to what they would become as they like grew into like a more successful project. And like yeah, it's like the one song I try to test out on people if I feel like, oh, maybe they'll like more heavy stuff, if I can play this for them. What did you think when you heard it?
It was, I definitely could feel like, huh, even for as somewhat like soft as this is coming off, this is definitely coming from a band that, has been harder in the past, and B, it's like it's clear that it's like they're kind of in this middle ground of like, how can I test this ground between being soft and at the same time still showing that same proficiency when we used to be, a much more
A meter.
hardcore band. And it's like, and I love it. And I love it when like artists do that. When like an artist do that, especially like I think the metal scene is like I find it at its most interesting when like yes they're the traditional confines of being heavy metal, but I've always just been so amazed when like you have like a progressive metal band or an avant-garde metal band that's like okay, like okay, yes, they're all the riffs people expect us to play, but like how can we convey that same
That's a great
intensity,
word to use, convey.
but come in, but maybe the punch doesn't hit as hard. It doesn't hit as hard, but it's still,
Still there.
yes, it's still there, and it still leaves a really stinging feel. And that was what I was really feeling with this one. You know,
Sweet.
you know.
I'm glad that's what's coming across with these selections that I've made.
Mhm.
You picked speaking of just like very like selections I didn't expect, you picked Morning Comes by Delta Ray, which is a band like Lady Hawk I've known for a while but never gave a chance. And I kind of feel like I robbed myself of the opportunity given how beautiful the singing was. Like there's like six people in the band and they're really giving you like just like this like folky like chamber singer baroque pop vibe. Like tell me more about Delta Ray and the selection of
Okay,
this.
yeah, and once again, another song that I was once again this close to like taking off the list because I love the song. I love the song. It's just like, man, I don't know how many people will really, I don't know, maybe relate to it or even care, but Delta Ray was a really interesting group. Of course, I think the song they're most known for is like in the bottom of the river, which I remember it used to get played on like it used to get played if not on VH1 and then like CMT and stuff like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
like
explains everything, honestly.
yeah, like Delta Ray is interesting because they're like the only group I know that's like this, like a pop gospel sudden gothic like soul group that clearly is not really interested in having much of say a genre, and yet it's like if you squint your eyes just if you blow your eyes just a bit you can see what they're trying to convey. But okay, but yes they do have some, but yes they do tend to have these songs that do kind of reflect on life and fate, and yet like thankfully it's not like, I don't know, when talking about a group that talks about their fate, it's not what we usually associate with that. Not gonna pass any judgment on those who do prefer that, but it is what it is. But morning comes, I am just okay, I remember when I first saw like the end of this video, and I missed the title card, and I spent hours upon hours upon hours trying to find this back in then. And I didn't have Shazam that back then. I don't even know if Shazam existed then. And when I did, I was just so thankful. And I love the song. I think it kind of works better if you watch it with the music video, because the music video
Hmm.
does a really good job of like complementing the themes of the song. But yes, it's a song. I think I described it as, what if you took the story of Job and made it into a pop song? And that's like what I've always felt with this. It's, about a guy who when he starts off, he has a decent life, he has a loving wife, he has a good job. Those things get taken away from him, and he's just kind of in this space where he's trying to still believe that good things can still happen in his life, but he still has to deal with a lot of shit. And it's like, and it just keeps piling on and kind of piling on. He has to deal with stuff he has to deal with stuff from the bank, from a bank. He has to keep dealing with stuff from these people and those things. And I, and I love the bridge, follow the track of my nails, try to be good to my people. So I try to be good to my people. So why do I still not have peace? And can I be blamed if I am angry? And can I be saved if I am barely clinging to hope? Because it really clings to a very human sentiment that so many, and once again, something I could definitely relate to, with so many times when you're trying to do good in life, but life has so many plans, life has so many different plans that take you away from that, and it just leaves you in this point of like, what was the point of all the good things I was trying to do? Not that I was expecting a reward, but I definitely wasn't expecting this. And yeah, it's natural. It makes sense to lose your hope. It makes sense to like feel like you're clinging on to something that you don't even know. Either you don't know if it exists, or B, if it does exist, you don't know if it gives 2 inches about your feelings at all. And and that was just, and I love that there is that very natural feeling of like trying to wrestle your sense of hope with your sense of weariness. And the guys just sell it so brilliantly, so brilliantly. They're absolutely amazing singers. And I believe Grant Emerson is the man on vocals. One moment, let me check right now, in case I am wrong. I'm wrong. I think, no, no, it's not Grant Emerson. It's Mr. Ian Hodgley. Sorry if I'm getting your name
Got a
wrong, Mr.
little
Hodgley.
umlaut there,
Yeah,
so
yeah. But I love that it is trying to marry this. It is trying to marry having faith, believing that good things can happen, but also realistically understanding that you've had to deal with a life of failure. That was the only song at that time that I knew that also kind of wrestled with that. Granted, not from a band like this, but shout out to Linkin Park and Iridescent. You build up faith, but failure is all you know. And man, I love that song so much. All right, R.I.P. Chester, we still miss you. But yeah, yeah, this is truly a song that I recommend, listen to it by yourself. Really think about your life, the things you wanted to happen, the things that did not happen, and you're wrestling with believing that good things can happen. And that has been like, I cannot characterize what the 2010s was for me, if not just that, constantly feeling that emotion right now. And yeah, hey, well, and I'm glad that this song exists. I'm glad that more people can hopefully get to listen to it. I mean, once again, Delta Ray, they're still going on. They released their last album like last year. It was
mhm.
called The Dark, which was in a companion piece to their last song, The Light. And and I think Bottom of the River is still going to always end up being the song they're both known for. But I'm glad, and I get, and then one last thing, it's like I'm glad they still kind of have a space for this song, because I remember 2016 once again, talk about 2016 again, and November, and we all know what happened in November of 2016.
Wish I could forget.
Yeah, and geez, and how our feelings were. And I remember on Facebook, and they post the lyrics to those closing lyrics to Morning Comes. Can I be blamed if I am angry? Can I be saved if I'm really clinging on to hope? Um, you know, but it always rains. It always rains. But when you think you're all alone, after the night, the morning comes. And I just, and thank you, because it was it would have been so easy just to say nothing, to just say nothing. But I'm glad that they understood what that moment meant to a lot of people, and I'm happy, and I'm happy they really kind of conveyed something for the audience. Some people did not like it, but I appreciated it. And even though what happened that week is not our reality anymore, the scars of it are still there. And I guess, like an old dog on a new gravestone, I'm still trying to be on this place of understanding what's going on right now. And I'm thankful for the song, and I'm thankful we got to talk about it.
I wanted to say that
Mhm.
I think it's fitting that like
Mhm.
we probably just
Yeah.
stop at morning comes, because the morning has come. 2 a.m. is
Yes.
right around the corner. I think
Yeah.
if we just like pause here, we have at least 8 joints to get into at a
Mhm.
later date.
Mhm.
Hey y'all, if you're listening to this at any point in the future, as late as we're recording it, go the fuck to sleep. In the words of the prophet Samuel L. Jackson, I think
Yep.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
have a little water, take off my pants, and get under the covers so I can have enough sleep before therapy begins.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, and while my class is not till 2 in the afternoon, I should be
Sleep
getting myself to
in.
sleep. Yeah. So, but I am so thankful we got to do part two of this,
Part two.
part two of this, and we will be closing this trilogy sometime soon. Hopefully sooner than
Stay
later.
posted.
But I'm once again, Mr. Chris, thank you for inviting me to this. I am
You
so
carried.
so thankful for this. And also I look forward to because I just added one more song to the honorable mention list, and I look forward to what
Fucking go. Let's
and
do it.
I look forward to what you have to say about that, because I love this song and I love the artist. They're one of the features when you and I are not the hottest on, but I kind of just want to focus on giving the
Interesting.
original
Okay.
artists
Okay.
their flowers. But the feature, thankfully he
Okay.
doesn't
Okay.
thankfully he doesn't say anything terrible. But hey,
Nonetheless, yeah.
guys, guys, thank you so much. Well, okay, you're not listening now, but you're going to be listening soon.
You will
Thank you
be.
guys so much. Thank you guys so much. See you guys.
Yes, good morrow.
Mhm,
Take care. We'll be back soon before you know it.
mhm.
I think a very wise Canadian once said, keep on rocking in the free world, but I'm going to say,
Yes.
keep on
Yeah.
sleeping in the
Yeah.
free world, and
Yes. And
sweet dreams
yes.
to us all.
And yes, our playlist is on Spotify, but I absolutely 100% stand by and salute that man for his recent decisions in that matter.
You know, I put it right on Amazon, but we're
Yeah.
not going to go into that tonight.
Yeah. No.
Shout out Eve Six, shout out India Henri, shout
Mhm.
out Barbara Streisand, I guess. So
Okay. Mhm.
have a good week. It's
Mhm.
Monday now. Get your Garfield on if you're able to.
Mhm.
We'll be back next time. Adios.
See
Say
see
goodbye.